if there is not any at all any more peace there, what are what they doing there? Because usually we learn that the UN will never send peacekeepers when there is a fight going on. They have to wait for peace, and then they keep the peace. In this case, the peace is not there anymore.
I think you're making an observation which I will not question. What I can tell you is that the peacekeepers, the UN Blue Helmets, UNIFIL, more than 9,000 of them have a very clear mandate from the Security Council on behalf of the international community. They continue to implement it to the best of their ability. They continue to be we believe, a force of deterrence, and they also provide a critical, I would say, communications framework where our UNIFIL commander speaks both to the Lebanese Armed Forces and to the Israeli Defense Forces. Obviously, they're also reporting on what is going on. We spoke to one of my colleagues there a few hours ago. He said there continues to be intense shelling, but they are constantly adjusting their operational posture to ensure their own safety, while at the same time implementing their mandate. And I said it yesterday, but it needs to be said again, because the message from the troop contributing countries has been very clear, is that they're sticking with this mission, and we are extremely appreciative of the fact that they are sticking with this mission.
Just a quick follow-up. The troop that are contributing, someone has been suggesting that the rules of engagement of the UNIFIL should be, enlarged. Should be made, changed by the Security Council.
In what way?
There is some proposal that the actual rule of engagement of those soldiers that are there, I don't know, maybe.
But in what way?
Can defend themselves if they somebody start to shoot at them.
Some peacekeepers are always allowed to defend themselves. Obviously, if the rules of engagements change, then they will change. Senor.
Steph, again on the persona non grata declaration, you said there were no legal effects, but the fact is that the Israeli foreign minister, he banned Mr. Guterres from entering the country. So there are some legal effects.
Well, listen, we're not looking at it through a legal lens for a number of reasons, including the one I gave you. And let's be honest, what is clear that any Secretary General, whenever he so far just he, goes to a country, it is at the invitation of that country. So that's just a basic principle. So you can do the math on how we see this. Yes, go ahead.
Follow up. At the same time, last week, Mr. Netanyahu came to New York, and he brought with him 40, 50 people inside the General Assembly, right? So there is no correspondence between the UN behavior and Israel behavior.
I didn't hear a question mark there. Before we go back to, is there any questions on the screen? Because I don't have my phone. Yes, Mike.
Firstly, Steph, you are forever persona grata at Shea Wagenheim, anytime. You went out of
Thank
there.
you.
Two questions for you. Please indulge me. When the Secretary General says the UNIFIL flag or the UN flag still flies, does he mean that there's just an outright refusal to move the peacekeepers, or not in this particular situation, or what exactly does that mean?
It means exactly what it means, is that the IDF had requested UNIFIL to leave several positions near the blue line, saying it was in the interest of the peacekeepers' safety and security. A decision was made, both, I would say, operationally and politically, to stay. We will continue to stay, while at the same time assessing our posture and the security of peacekeepers, I would say, on an hourly basis.
Second question for you. In terms of the framework of 1701, the state of Lebanon has had 18 years to implement that resolution? I mean, you and Jean-Pierre Lacroix have kind of said the same thing, that it's up to the parties. Well, if the Lebanese government won't do it, and Hezbollah is obviously in no rush or has no motive to implement it, I mean, what's the other party left to implement?
Look,
Who else is it?
diplomacy takes time. We want to see the guns silenced, and we want to see a return to diplomacy.
Last question. Can
Yes,
I get
sir.
in one more?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. I don't want to make unclear what you said was made clear this morning, but just in a general sense. I mean, if I woke up from a midday nap yesterday and read the Secretary General's statement, I would have no idea that Iran fired 180 ballistic missiles. And when you go back to what started this whole brouhaha between Israel and Secretary General back in October, when he said there's no justification for the massacre, and 5 seconds later went into a 5-minute justification for it, or at least interpreted that way by many. My wife often tells me if you're clear the first time, you won't have to clear it up later. I mean, is there an issue with the Secretary General and just hesitancy or dancing around politically and trying to be clear the first time rather than just in identifying the problem?
Well, perhaps we can invite your wife to ask the questions and my wife to answer them. But listen, I think as in your preamble, you said you did not want to make less clear what the Secretary General said. I think the Secretary General was clear, and the tweet was released within the context of what everybody knew and what the news was. But I think his comments today were very clear. Sylvia.
The Lebanese government said today and yesterday they will implement Resolution 1701. Did you get the message? How about UNIFIL now? Is he continuing the mandate? Will continue?
Yeah, I mean, UNIFIL
is it going to change within this 1701 resolution?
We would love to see the parties actually implement 1701. The UNIFIL's mandate has not changed to the best of my knowledge, given that it's a Security Council that would change it. So their work continues under the present circumstances.
The same rule of engagement?
The rules of engagements
rules
are set out, unless the Security Council decides to change something. Benno.
Thank you. I have a follow-up to the incident at the press conference with German Foreign Minister Baerbock. I know you just heard about it 20 now, maybe 30 minutes ago, but still.
It seems like an hour ago now.
Oh, yeah. Can you confirm, though, that this Russian journalist was stripped his UN badge?
I don't believe he was stripped of his UN badge. I believe his status was changed. But again, that's just what I know in the last 24 minutes.
When you say his status was
Well, because
changed?
you have different access to this building. You have resident correspondents, non-resident correspondents.
So he still has access to the building, you think?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
But again, I should not speak on things I just understand.
Okay. So, yeah, I know you just heard of it. I was there, but I would really appreciate if you could clarify that later or so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deji and then Abdelhamid.
Yeah, just a quick
How
follow-up.
about saying it's obvious?
Just a follow-up on the banning of the entry of Secretary General to Israel. Does that mean that the Secretary General cannot go to Gaza if he wants to?
I think you all know that in order to get to Gaza, it does require clearance by Israeli authorities. Abdelhamid.
Thank you again. Do member states have the luxury to pick and choose which Security Council resolution is binding or not? Now they are shedding tears about 1701 only, when there are many other resolutions. They don't, even Miss Linda Thomas Greenfield stood after adopting resolutions 27, 25, she said it's not binding. And now it is 1701. They don't mention 242, 338, 426, 478, 480.
I mean, Abdelhamid, you are as much, if not more, of a student of this organization than I am. You know very well that from the Secretary General's point of view, every member state should respect international law. Every member state should respect international humanitarian law. Every member state should abide by Security Council resolutions and others. Whether they do it or not is something that the journalists need to hold them to account. Benno, then Benny, and then bye-bye.
I'm very sorry for the back and forth. I forgot one question about the same incident I just asked about. Ambassador Nebenzia told me there was an assault by a German individual towards that Russian correspondent. I would like to know if you know anything about an assault or can
in the last 90 seconds, I have not been more enlightened on but I will try to do my best of my ability to respect your questions and harvest an answer for you.
I feel respected, thanks.
Could you also send it out to all of us, because some of us will be reporting on it?
I'll just do it to Benno.
No, please, all of us. All of us.
Yes, of course. Of course, of
One-on-one.
course. We share the love. Yes, Benny.
On that note of hilarity, so you say that the IDF, after the IDF said that warned UNIFIL to move from certain spots, that the UNIFIL for now has decided to stay. So two questions on that. First of all, does that endanger the UNIFIL forces? And secondly, do you recall any similar incident when Hezbollah told UNIFIL to move from one place or to ignore one incident?
I can't answer the last one. I don't have the information.
marka aad weysaysatid kadib haddaad aqisid ducadan maalinta qiyaamo waxaa lagu furayaa 8 albaabood ee jannada midka aad rabtid ayaad ka gelaysaa. nebiga sala allahu calayhi wasallam ku salli ayaa inoo tilmaamay ducadaasoo ah waa duco aad u fudud. marka aad weysaysatid kadib waxaad aqisaa aad dhahdaa ashhadu an laa ilaaha ila allah وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. دعاء فضط waxaad ku helaysaa ajarkaas weyninka badan oo ah 8 albaabood jannada in lagu furo midka aad rabtidna in aad ka geshid. sii faafi asxaabtaadana si ay ugu faa'iidaystaan.